Hi parents, I know there's a lot of questions about tonight's homework, so I just wanted to make a quick video to explain. In doing mental math, it's important that students are able to do the calculations in their mind. Today we did subtraction with regrouping, and I noticed that there were 8 different answers that we got just by trying to do subtraction with regrouping. So it's clear to me that we're not ready to use regrouping and subtraction, especially when it comes to 3-digit numbers. So we're going to use this mental math strategy to help us subtract. I broke it down into 3 simple steps so that 3rd graders could remember exactly what to do. But I know that it is more steps than what we're used to doing in writing, but it's exactly what we do in our minds as adults when we're trying to subtract numbers mentally. So the first step is that you want to round one of the numbers, and you want to round one of the numbers to a number that ends in a 0. So that would mean rounding it to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100. Then you need to add the same amount to both numbers. So if in order to round to the nearest 10 you had to add 3, then you need to add 3 to the other number as well in order to balance out the equation. And then the last step is just to subtract. So I worked out the first problem in the homework over here. They gave you the numbers 232 minus 117. And on tonight's homework, I purposely just chose 1 through 8 so that the rounding was already done for them. So they told you for this problem you would have to add 3, and it would make 232, 235, and 117 into 120. So they figured out that they were going to round 117 to 120, which meant adding 3. Since we added 3 to 117, we also have to add 3 to 232 so that the equation is balanced. Once you do that, then you see that 235 minus 120 is 115. It's easier to do this way mentally because if you are trying to think about the number 232 minus 117, you would need to regroup. And in your mind, it's hard to do that when you know that you have more on the top, so you'd have to go to the tens and regroup that into 2 tens and then regroup those into 10 ones. It's much easier if you're doing the math mentally to try to get it to a number that ends in a 0. So that is why we took 117 to 120 and added 3, and then added 3 to 232 to make it 235. Again, this is something that as adults we do mentally kind of without thinking, and it gets confusing when you try to explain the process and write the process out. But we would do the same thing. If we were out shopping and we wanted to figure out 232 minus 117, we would most likely think 117 is close to 120, and then I would add 3 more to make it 235 and subtract. If you have any more questions, please message me through Dojo or send me an email, and this is only going out to parents who have Class Dojo because I have no other way of sharing it easily, so feel free to share on social media or with parents that you know have not signed up or have an account. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.